If you're going to grow a crop that's this tall, cut this much off, you might have 4 or 5 tonne. Now you're starting to look at making it more profitable. We've got to be able to use everything that we grow. Your time of sowing, your weed control. Now, frost is an interesting thing. I've been running around saying, frost is an issue, and people go, no, cold's not a problem. And I said, well, frost and cold are different things. They are, because the frost is very cold, very quick. I've seen thousands of hectares of wheat wiped out overnight like that. Best crops we've ever had in history, nothing the next day. My mate lost $1.5 million overnight. Frost will do the same to hemp. How you're going to process what machinery you're going to use. This is hemp flax machine. I actually sat and drove in that. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. So we have different machinery to use. So we can grow a taller crop. We can take the seed. This crop here takes the seed and the leaf. The seed goes in the box. The leaf goes out the back for the CBD production. Everything's there. We've got to see where we can fit it in the system. Done Agro. Now that machine, Phil showed you the machine that they had. They're still using that potato harvester, but this is the latest development. It's called the Bull. That takes all the leaf off, and there was piles and piles and piles of CBD leaves sitting on the ground next to me. And I said, aren't you worried about wastage? And he said, Colin, look how much we've got. It's not a problem because they're growing big amounts. So this is the technology of double cut harvesters. Now, when you are going to grow, you need to understand your spec, what you're going to grow, who you're going to grow for. So if you, Bob's just put up here 2 types. But as you can see, we've got premium grade for housing and mulch. All those specs are the same. Oh, this is great. All the specs are the same except slight moisture content. But I've learnt a few things from Gary and Matt today about moisture in hemp. It's different to what I thought being working in the hay industry. It's a different thing. So, and now to carry on from that, oops, now we've got to change. What are we allowed in our product? So, both harvest before flowering. In the mulch market, redding, no, not a problem. Density, no, not a problem. Bast quality, not a problem, they don't care. But when we come over this side, we go to housing, does the guy that wants to build need it redded? What is the density? Now, a hollow stalk gives you a low density herd. A solid stalk gives you a higher density product, more durable. And the size of your hemp herd in the mix dictates the amount of moisture and the amount of binder you need to put with it. But all builders, and what the builders will know what product they want to build, so you've got to talk to them. It's all about communication. And now, to carry on, bast fibre, different product. So if you're growing for the housing market, which is your herd market, you're growing for mulch, or you're growing for your bast fibre, your seeding rates are all different. Your plant densities are all different. What do you need to get? So the billet size is important. Depends what your end user is. Does it want to be, what colour do they want? It makes a difference. All these little things make a difference. So you need to know. Are they going to use it for woven spec or non-woven? Now, the impact of the mower that you use. You need to know. It's no good having a D8 decorticator and cutting your crop at 250 millimetres because that machine likes a stalk that's this long, not this long. You deliver it to the man and he goes, fuck, what am I going to do? I've spent all this money and I can't process what I've got because no one will buy it. We don't want to see that anymore. This is what we've got to communicate with each other. So, you know, people want different lengths. They want it cut differently. You've got to know. Gary, you've got to know. You learnt about cutting it in different lengths. What works for your processor? What works? And it's you know, depends on the decorticator requirements. Know your, as I said, what was in red. Know your end product. Do they want it redded or non-redded? So it's the same. Your mill, do they want it in round rolls? Do they want it in square rolls? How far's it got to be transported? If you're doing it in round rolls compared to square bales, how many can you fit on a truck? Because the truck's going to cost the same amount to get from point A to point B, whether it's got 20 tonne or it's got 30 tonne or it's got 5 tonne. Your costs are the same. So if you can't load that truck to its potential, that lifts the cost of everything. We've got to keep our costs down. So, yeah, what do they want? What do they want it stooked? Now, to stook it, that's going to cost you more in the field to do. Prime example. Why do chaff producers in the Hunter Valley buy their loosened chaff from South Australia when they can grow it up in the Hunter? I'll tell you why. Because in South Australia, they don't get summer rain. So they can turn it when they like. And they can keep the leaf so they can get it dry. So it just needs to dry. But in the Hunter Valley, you don't know if you're going to get a thunderstorm and it's going to get wet or the humidity's too high. So it's harder to manage to get the right product. But then we turn it around the other way and look at hemp, because hemp's different. If you want a retted product, you need it to be moist. And you need to start that process of retting. But then in the Hunter Valley, if you get another thunderstorm and it gets too wet and it sits in the field for too long, it's going to be over-retted and the product's no good. When you go to South Australia, because I'm using that, or the west of New South Wales, you're not going to get that summer rain on your hemp when it's on the ground. So if you want a retted product, how are you going to do it? You're going to have to put a sprinkler or water it. So it's another thing you've got to think of. And then the choice of your variety. When is that variety going to flower? Every variety will flower at a different time, on a different latitude going up. Further north we go. I can grow Frog, MS77 or Yuma in Adelaide. If I plant it in October, it'll be 6.5 metres tall and it'll start to flower. But it won't flower till the end of February, and I'm down the south coast and the rain comes in and it stays wet and I can't get the crop off. I can't get the seed off it. But I can go, I've planted it down there as a biomass crop, and I know that my fronts are going to come in, it's going to get wet, so I watch my weather and I know the forecast and I go, right, at this date down in Adelaide, I have to cut it middle of February. I just go and cut the crop as a biomass crop. But if I want to go out to seed down, I'm going to be in trouble. People talk about 2 crops. If I take, I'll use Yuma because I sell Yuma. Thank you very much. That would be very much appreciated. It'll be $50 straight after we finish.
I always owe you 50 Colin.
That's right. Well, you'll pay it one day. So, right, I plant Yuma in the Hunter Valley in October. It will get to 5 to 6 metres tall. Male flowering will begin in beginning of February. So I'll cut it at the end of February. I cut that crop down. I can replant seed from the same batch on the same bit of soil. It'll get to about this high by June. It'll be full of seed. But then if I took that same crop and I went up into Queensland, that crop, I can plant it as late as March or April, and it'll get to, depends on the climate conditions and the heat units, what height before it goes to seed. So some people go, we can plant and get 2 crops a year. You get 2 crops a year, but of different levels of heights. So somebody goes, some said to me, oh, we'll go 2 11-tonne crops a year of biomass. Yeah, good luck. Good luck. So what is a farmer's preferred time between mowing and baling, which just fits into the rotations of what a farmer wants to do? When does he want to plant his next crop, or when can he plant hemp? How can it fit in? Which is varietal selection for your climate and your zone to get it to that stage. And you may not want to plant, as a farmer, you may not want to plant a crop, you may have a certain window. So you will plant a variety that'll plant here that'll flower there. And you might go, I just want it as a break crop, as a rotation. I don't need 21 tonne, or maybe 11, 12, 14 tonne per hectare. If I can get 4 or 5 tonne in those 3 months, I'm happy with what I want to do on my property. So it's understanding the whole process. Now, some farmers don't want to leave hemp in the field for 8 weeks and hope that it gets wet and hope that it rets properly for an end market. So the specs of each crop, pesticide status, time of sowing. Now here we have redded crop. So we've got green, non-redded, redded. You can see the colour difference. Some people, sorry about all the guys over there because I'm pointing at this one. As you can see, different, and it gives you a different end product. Some people, it was discussed earlier on about a nice white fibre or the darker fibre. And you can see that in some of the house buildings that you'll see. You'll see photos of them and the walls will be different colour. And that's to do with the redding process and how it works. So it depends. You know, a farmer, cut it, get it off my paddock. If I was a farmer, wearing my farmer's hat, cut it and get it off my paddock, get it in bales, get it out of the rain, get it out of the weather. Get it off so I get paid for it. Done agro come up early on. That's how they turn their rolls. That's how to turn the windrows, want to stop it over redding and to dry it out. So the cleanliness of the herd and the fibre for the end user. As I go back again, what sort of decorticator? Do they need it redded? Can they do it unredded? How harsh is the decorticator? Some have got hammer mills, some have different processes with the inside declaning it. How harsh are they on the product? You know, and do you need to irrigate after mowing? Depends what climate you're in, depends what your end product is. So the application rates. What weeds, when you go into plant, what weeds are going to grow? What's the temperature? Now, I know Bob has a certain window when he will plant. He says as the temperature at Hunter Valley at Dunga, when the temperature goes, he said, if I plant before this date, I plant before the summer weeds germinate, the hemp will be out of the ground, like that first photo. Once it's this high and it covers out the weeds, it's got most of the weeds covered. But if he gets this window, he plants, all the summer weeds will come up in his crop. So then he goes, if I've missed that date, I can't plant in those 2 weeks, so I'll move to here and I'll give it an extra couple of cultivations to make sure the summer weeds germinate so I can kill them. So that I don't have to use chemical in the crop. Because you talk to builders, we're clean, we're green and we're environmental. We do not want glyphosate residues or chemical residues in our herd. Whether it's been tested or not, it's a psychological aspect. Now, people will argue with me, but I say that glyphosate will go down as the worst chemical we've ever used on any food products in the world. Worse than DDT and Agent Orange. But that's just my view. And it's the same thing, a yield in a crop. Can you make $1 at 2 tonne of a hectare? Will it give you a return? Or do you need to get 12 tonne to get a return? Depends on your farmer's growing cost and what they want out of it. So here is a grower needs a premium for a well-redded crop. So when a farmer's going to grow, we need to talk to the farmer and say, we want you, a processor, we want you to deliver this product. We will show you and give you the information how to get the product that we want. We will walk you through the whole thing. We will do that. Unfortunately, as I said, I don't want to upset people what I say. What we've had in the industry in the past is, can you do that, can you do that, can you do that? Yep. And then something stuffs up and we get too much of this. It's your fault, it's your fault, it's your fault, it's your fault, it's your fault. That is not what we want. Now, there is people with good experience in this industry. They've learnt, I've learnt. I haven't made a fortune out of it. But I would like to get paid for the information that I know. Then I can freely give my information. I've given my information, Bob Doyle's given information, John Muir's given, lots of people in this industry have been here for a while have given information away for free. People have run off and done stuff and made money out of it, and really it pisses me off, and I can get very passionate and emotional about this, because good advice will save you a lot of time and a lot of money. There you go. I'm nearly done. 21 tonne. 21 tonne on that truck. That same truck, if I was doing hay, I get 35, 40 tonne. I worked in the hay industry and we were stacking 9,000 big square bales, 8 high in a shed. 3 of them on one farm. So I moved a couple of bales or 2. Who wants rocks in their paddock? Field selection. Now, what does your builder want? Sorry about the top one. I'll try to keep the 10 sensitive, but I couldn't get it. What product do they want? Am I running out of time?
Yes, you've run out of time.
Oh, you should have told me. Right, I'll be very quickly. So there's so much, I could talk for hours here on the things that I've seen and the things I've learnt. I'm sorry, I've normally never run over time. Ha ha. But so we need to understand the whole process. Now, every farmer has a different return that he needs. I've turned irrigation farmers that said we need a minimum of $450 a tonne or $4,500 a hectare for me to even consider growing this crop. That's the numbers that I need. So the choice of what you want to do with it. We need to understand the whole process all the way through. I'll really quick. So what is the process's specifications, which what I said at the start? You need to know. We could work another, actually Bob said, we could work another workshop on that sort of stuff. So I will say thank you to the people that are on that because Bob has talked to them. We share information and that's what we've got to do as an industry. I would like to thank all these people up here for David Bryan, Mick Anderson, Matty Hardy and Anthony Coffey, John Muir, and there's quite a few others that aren't up there. We need to share information and work together. So, as you can see, thanks to the organising committee. And the final comments, while the AHC under Tim has made great progress, there is still much playing the man, not the ball. This industry's got a history. We've got to learn from that history. We've got to work on creating a better future. It's like a lot of things. I'm not responsible for my actions, but I'm responsible for his actions. No, we're responsible for our own actions. If we want to build this industry, we need to work together. It took the Canadians 17 years to work it out. Guess what? I've been involved for 17 years in Australia. Do you think maybe we might be able to start working together? A huge amounts of knowledge in this room. Let's work together and let's create an industry.